Could it be that mental health is a lie? So, is it made up? Health is health. Like, we know that we have physical health in the sense of, is our body functioning well? And everything's tied together, so mental, physical, spiritual, all that, emotional, all of it's all connected. So at some point we had the word health, which meant being well, and then we've split it into different types of health, and I think this is the problem. So depending on what camp you work in or believe in, is dissecting the human experience and separating the components and compartments of everything that makes us us in life. So it's the same as like we are all connected, and nature, God, universe, vibration, whatever you want to call it, we're all one, right? So if you think about it right now, you are literally connected to every single person on the planet that is not in an aeroplane or jumping. You think about it, it's kind of mad how our feet are on the floor here, and all around the world, all the other people's feet are on the floor. So we're all connected. And it doesn't matter how much you dissect it, or whatever way you want to split it up or analyze, it all comes back to the same thing. So mental health is just made up by humans, and I think it makes a lot of sense that the people in power have made it up in order to trick us into believing it's real. Just like religion is used to trick people to divide and manipulate. I don't think religion is ever mentioned in any scripture. It's just the truth. There's the way. We all came into being in the same way, and there's debates on people's views, humans' views. Well, I read this, or I saw that, or I heard this, and so it's all interpreted with our own history and attitude wrapped around it. So if we look at mental health as just being a completely made up word, right? What is mental health? What is mental? Mental, is it the mind, the brain? The brain is a muscle. It works a certain way, and then individually we have different dispositions, and depending on our lifestyle and our internal makeup, so our attitude, our behavior, our character, our beliefs, and all that sort of stuff, that affects the chemicals in our brain. Nutrition, exercise, location, weather, all these different. So then we look at the brain as a muscle that basically tells the body what to do. Then we look at the mind. The mind is maybe like consciousness, subconscious. Maybe the mind is split between those two. So the subconscious is our internal programming, which is when we're born, we're told how to be and what to do and all that. So then that's our internal programming, which we then experience life with that compass and judge it and then we can realign. So to reprogram your subconscious, we've been programmed by parents, teachers, doctors, and all that stuff, people in power, authority, and it's just their views that they've pushed onto us. So then we can reprogram the brain to work more in line with the truth. We can program it badly as well. We can decide to worship something, someone, somewhere. So we've got to be very careful. And going inwards is a deep and dark and potentially dangerous journey. So you need to know what you're doing. A lot of people think they're doing it, but aren't actually doing it properly. They're still engaged with the ego and all that external intertwinedness, whilst making judgments based on beliefs and mood. So the subconscious can be reprogrammed. You just have to know what you're doing, where you've been, what your operating system is, like how your brain works, what are the chemicals and blah blah, what it needs, what helps and hinders, that kind of stuff. Then you've got the consciousness, which is our concept of, or our comprehension of our concept of existence. So then subconscious is, we have no information when we're born, apart from the genetic and whatever was going into us while we were forming. And then when we come into life, then the more we experience and engage with, and what we learn from, and depending on how deep the level of education is, that can then expand our consciousness. And I think the consciousness is what keeps us all connected. So kind of like we are all operating individually, but we're all connected to this energy force, like I mentioned. So there's vibrational frequencies. Everything is just tiny little atoms vibrating, and then some match and attract and some repel, and you know what I mean. So we experience life, and depending on how we not interpret it, how we understand it, how we understand it, how we overstand it, how we engage with it, how we're connected to it. So then the subconscious is more about our experience, our level of experience, and our depth of comprehension. And that is evolved over time through doing different things, different experiences, being of different vibrations, and engaging with the same thing with a different vibration, a different way, a different view, a different attitude. So subconscious is something that's programmed into us, and then we have to reprogram, and that can actually direct us towards goals, future goals, without much effort, because we know what helps and hinders. We add what helps and we remove what hinders, and then we're internally programmed to head towards something. The subconscious is more about the connection. I think just leave it as connection rather than comprehending. It's just, it is. So our connection, and then you've got, so if that's the mind, brain, then you've got thought, which comes out of nowhere. So whether you look at it from a spiritual, religious, psychological, philosophical, emotional, whatever angle you look at it, it all kind of seems to say the same thing. And I've been studying this stuff pretty deeply for about 10 years. Well, actually it's my 10-year anniversary this year. And I've engaged in, completely, fully immersed in different lifestyles and attitudes, behaviors, characters. I've performed, I've pretended, I've failed, I've crashed, I've burnt out, I've excelled, I've elevated, I've been enlightened, I've been awakened, I've fallen back to sleep, I've gone backwards by accident through engaging with the evil thoughts. All thoughts are not ours, they come to us. It's like an attack to get us to attach to the thought, which will evoke a feeling, which we will judge, which makes us emotional, and playing the creator, because we don't get to judge. Who are we? We don't know anything. So then thoughts are not to be trusted. We have reflection, which is looking at the past on how to improve. We have contemplation on how to do something. And we have visualization, which is preparing for the future and tuning the vibrational frequency that we are to what it is that we want, so that we gravitate towards it and we attract it towards us. Just like what our mums done to us when we were born, they tried to make us attractive to them so that they can love us, and they tried to make themselves attractive to us so that we love them back. And then that is part of our subconscious programming that we take forwards into life, thus seeking partners like our parents. So it gets dangerous. So that's all wrong, and that's just a recipe for disaster unless the parent has gone into the truth and just operates in truth with non-emotive, practical thoughts and actions. Right. So then we look at psychology, which I think is just a new version of philosophy, where everything existed, the creator had done it, and then humans were looking to survive and then looking for purpose. So we're here to do something. So if you have a philosophy, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, well then that's it. You get up and you do that, or you don't do that, and then you go to bed and repeat. So if you have any kind of thoughts or mind malfunctions, fluctuations in the brain, then because you have your programming, you've programmed the philosophy into your subconscious, so you just do without question or complaint, because you know what you're doing and why. But then if you have a discrepancy in the brain, then you just go, no, I've already figured out this is what I'm doing. And as you do and do and do, and then you get deeper into the doing, you're expanding your consciousness. So then if that's not aligned, then maybe you need to reroute and change your philosophy, the reason behind what you're doing. But otherwise it's just a lie, and you don't need to engage with it because you've already got your path, so you just ignore and carry on. And you need to know the difference between these and how to engage and disengage and work out if you're on the right path, if you're doing the right thing, or if you need to change, or if that's just a lie. So then psychology basically explained the problems in the brain. So your brain is wired this way and da. Well, if you can reprogram your brain, then the psychology is just the blueprint of what you've got going on, and you can change that. So it's not set. So then if we look at the spiritual side of things, religion is all man-made, and there is a creator because stuff has been created. If any of this dimension exists in reality, we don't know. and we're just stupid humans bumping into each other trying to figure things out. So if we go back before the evil thoughts got into people and the greed and manipulation and blah blah, and now the world is so fake and full of all these lies that are taking us away from the creator, from God, from the higher power, from whatever that universal frequency, the creator, whatever it is. All the things, again, they all point to the same thing. Everything seems to point to the same thing. And I've been deep on this for 10 years and been through some big trials and tribulations in that time, plus my previous experience, which is kind of vast. A lot of different health stuff, a lot of travel around the world, a lot of different life engagements, lifestyle engagements. So it's almost like unpacking my history and just going, right, what's all this and how does it make sense? And then having more stuff put on it to just check while I'm engaging with this growth stuff to see if I'm doing it right. And if it has a instant lesson and impact. So in there somewhere there's spirituality, like maybe there's a soul, a spirit, something in us. Again, another vibration, like that's the thing that connects us. The body's just a vessel, the brain tells the body what to do, and the body carries the soul, which connects through the feet into the earth and around the world, making us all one. So the spirituality is connecting with self. It's going inwards. It's not going outwards. It's not anything external. It's a deep connection within. And then once you have that deep connection of authenticity, the truth within, and the truth of how the way the world works, not my truth, his truth, their truth, this truth, that truth, the truth. There is none other than the truth. So you have to seek that and put that at the top of your to-do list every day, put it on a pedestal, worship the truth, and then everything that comes to you will be the truth, and everything that falls away from you will be lies. So your persona that you've created, this image that you project, that will start to slip away. The people in your life, if they are not true, they will start to slip away. This can get scary, confusing, dark, and lonely, isolating. So keep going. It means you're on the right path, and it's going to get darker before it gets lighter. So you got to go through hell to get to heaven. The duality of things. If you think you're in heaven, you must have experienced if you are in heaven, you have to experience hell in order to know what heaven is, right? So let's say there's good and bad, there's dark and light, it's basically good and evil energy. The good is everything that is, and the evil is everything that's not. So lies, basically, which our brain tries to do to us. It tries to manipulate us and lie to us based on other people's views, world views, something you've seen, heard, read, felt. So if you don't have a thought, you can't have a feeling. Therefore you're not judging, you're not attached to the lie, so you will not be emotional, and you will be able to practically work through whatever it is. Right, so I think we had the spiritual realm first, and we were all connected and everything made sense. And then as humans developed sort of civilization, which is pure evil, then we needed to make sense of things. And then this is where religion could be used to manipulate people. So I think the spiritual world came first, then we had the philosophy of how to live, what to do and why. And then if we look at sort of more ancient teachings of the sort of the Taoism, the Buddhism, that kind of stuff, connection with nature, self and God, and that's kind of the be all end all. And I think maybe some people couldn't grasp that concept, so then this is where religion came into play. And you could look at, say, the birth of Jesus, and God saying, well, I've made you in my image, you people, and I used to make you from dust. But then it was almost like you owed me because I made you, so you had to love me. So then, in order for us to go back to God freely, he gave us free will. And in order to do that, he created man, Adam. Then he created Eve. And then they can create humans. And then that free will allows us to go and experience human existence, to engage with this world that we have around us, and to see if we can make sense of it and stay pure and follow the truth and go back to God, thus experiencing heaven on earth, or heaven within. Heaven is not on earth. Heaven is within, where the soul is. And once you die the spiritual death of all this evil that you are, because we've been lied to and manipulated and all of that, we've become evil and engaged with thoughts, feelings, emotions, come away from practical thinking, and coming away from connecting with the truth, and disregarding all other fluctuating emotions and desires. All desires are the root of all suffering. So you drop the desire, you will not suffer, because you're in acceptance. And the whole point of life is to experience, so engaging with the senses, which then can expand consciousness through real education of the truth. And then once we have dropped all the evil falseness of around ourselves, all the lies about ourselves, gone inwards, recognized what we are, that we're all connected, and what the truth is, and let everything drop away from us to become no one, nothing, and just exist and experience, but not to engage with the sensations, just to experience them without judgment. And then through this purity, there is darkness in there, where we have to drop all the stuff away and go through our own path of darkness, get rid of the demons. And that's a scary thing to do, because everyone will try and keep you where you are, because they don't want to see you getting well and them staying sick. It will offend them, it will aggravate them, it will upset them, it will scare them, it will threaten them. So they want to hold you back, because they're part of the evil consciousness of humans, and they want to keep you stuck. So you have to accept it, and you acknowledge things, you accept them, and then you just let them go. You don't attach to anything, and you go inward, and then you stick with it, continue, and you will constantly be receiving these truth information points, and there's no end to it. So when you get to level 1, keep going. A lot of people think they're doing it and they're not. A lot of people get to level 1 and stop. It's just an ongoing thing. So then once you die of this spiritual death, then you can be reborn into the light of truth, and that is where you are not affected or fazed by the outside world at all. And that is heaven, and that is the death that you have to experience. And then once you go into that light of truth, that is eternal life. So then we had these sort of Taoist Buddhist ways, and it made sense to most, or it made sense to some, and then to some it didn't. So then this is where we've had to make something more human for people to engage with, and this is where Jesus was sent down, if we look at all of that stuff as being true, because we weren't there, so we can't say for sure. And even if it is a cool story, there's a lot of explanation in there as to what reality is, and what this dimension and what we're doing. So God sent someone in human form with a message to explain this to us, and then some of us grasped it and some of us didn't, and then some of us were evil still and used the religion as a blanket to mask the truth, and that the people of religion in power can then manipulate and gain thrills and admiration and respect and false love through all of these ways that they preach. So you need to know what's going on in the religion. Then there's all these other religions, and do you know what I mean? So we can't really speak on it. It's all evil, but it sounds like the Jesus story was, he was just trying to say, listen, you lot, you've got it wrong, this is what it is. And then some of us went, all right, got it, boom. And then some of us went, yeah, I think I've got it, I think I know what's right, lied to ourselves and then used it. And then other people who are evil and manipulative and power hungry, greedy and controlling, they used it to use us and to keep us away from the truth and going internal to our soul, connecting with God, living the natural way, connected with nature and everyone as one. Right, so we had spirituality, then we had philosophy, and then we had religion, and then we had psychology as science evolves, and then we have mental health. So mental health is a good way, a good method of manipulating people and controlling them, just like the religion was. So you have a governing body, which is the people in power, the or authoritative state, and they will say you have to do this and you can't do that, and then they will tell the people that they train what they can and can't study. It's all interpretation, it's all just made up human stuff, and it all stems from an evil force that's trying to keep people sick, control them, and keep them away from going back to God, going back to the light, going seeking the truth and being free. So then they have medications that keep you from being pure and clean and take you away, and then they tell you need to, engage with these services and do these things. And then because you're weak and confused, just like the people that go into the places of worship, religious places, you're going in to now worship this doctor, and the scripture is your medication, or your DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. We're at number 5 now, I think. And that's their scripture to say all of this stuff is made up words. I mean, all words are made up at the end of the day. So we've just gone and taken it into our own hands and just made up all these words, made up these diagnoses, listed a bunch of symptoms, bundled them together. So you got a bunch of traits, they call them symptoms. Then they give you a disorder, which is actually an order, which is just a circumstance. So you are a certain way, your brain operates a certain way, and that can be affected by the way that you live and what you engage with or don't. And to be free, you have to have everything drop away, everything and everyone and everywhere. Not be concerned about where you are, who you're with or not, what you're doing. It's just doing everything in truth, and through that truth you will find peace, pure peace inside, through acceptance and non-judgment, looking at the duality, looking at the Wu Wei, looking at non-doing, non-action. There's so many things to chop up in there, and then you'll find peace once you've seek the truth, found the truth, and sit in it and live in it and be it. So don't try and do good things, be a good person, and good things will naturally come from you, because you will allow the source, the light source of God, of truth, of pureness work through you, because you don't have the devil trying to operate your brain with thoughts that you attach and blah blah. So in order to be free, you want to be in nature with no restraint, no limitation, no rules and regulations, no one to worship or serve or obey, no one to judge. And obviously the world that us stupid humans have built around us it doesn't make any sense. It's taken us away from nature, the natural way. Even when you look at products or services that are claiming to be pure and natural, and then you do follow the trail back to how they were started and what they've done, and you know, do they use other people or products or nature or whatever in a bad way? So most things are not pure. Then we look at money, pure evil. It's another god that people worship. Sex is another god that people worship. Fame is another god that people worship. These are all evil gods outside of yourself that will bring you immense pain and suffering, and will ultimately kill you if you don't snap out of it. Or rather than kill you, it could physically kill you, but you will remain dead or asleep, because you're not alive yet. You've been born, but you are not alive. Life is what comes after. You have to die the spiritual death to then come into the true life. And it's an amazing place and a beautiful place, and it might sound a bit heebie-jeebie nonsense what I'm saying, and I used to think that before I started my journey. I had a lot of negative life engagements, a lot of evil working through me, a lot of different negative experiences, along with all the fun stuff as well, which I thought was good, but then I realized you can't have the good times without the bad times, therefore they're all evil, because pure peace doesn't consist of ups and downs. And that contentment, that inner contentment that you find, it's unexplainable. It's the truth. I can't put it into words. And you can get frustrated and wound up trying to explain it to people, so just don't. And if you find it, and you'll know, and then you could maybe speak on it or connect with someone else that has. But unless you've done the work, experienced the death of the ego, and stepped into the light of the truth, and all you do is seek truth, then you will not be able to experience this, and you will not have any way of communicating it or engaging in any conversation with it, because you cannot grasp it, because you've never seen it, you've never experienced it, you've never felt it, you've just heard about it or seen someone. It lives deep within you, but you have to drop who you think you are. So I've had multiple mental health diagnoses which didn't sit right with me, and they've been changed over time. And looking at the studies that I've done in the mental health field, I figured out what my diagnoses would be, looking at the scripture of the DSM, and then I've gone about working on it in a spiritual way alongside these other mental health ways. And there's basically, the mental health ways are watered down ways of spirituality, and they're not looking at you to get well because you're a customer, which means you make them money. So they want you coming back for more. And really, I've spent 10 years on this, plus whatever else beforehand, and it's so simple. It's just that there's so many lies, and because we're all stupid, we believe the lies and we attach to them, we identify with them, we think it's us. And that's basically what mental health is. It's a lie. It's what we think we are, it's not what we actually are. And it's been expressed and evolved by evil people who want to play God and control others and feel superiority. And when they may tell themselves, oh no, I'm doing it for the greater good, I'm doing it because I love people and I want to help people. If you wanted to help people, you wouldn't be doing this. If you love people, you wouldn't be doing this. And if you had gone inwards, you would have seen the truth and you'd be able to share the truth, but you haven't. So you're just regurgitating stuff that other people have said through evil forces. So the medication is going to keep you away from being pure. So you're not going to get well that way. Going to counseling, therapy, group sessions, religion, any of this kind of where you go and talk about stuff, fellowships to a degree depending on what they're like, but really it's just a bunch of people getting together talking about their problems, or a one-to-one talking about problems, bringing up, regurgitating stuff that's happened that doesn't exist anymore, to evoke a feeling, to get you to be emotional, to get you to cry, to get you to come back, maybe to get you to laugh, to think you're well. But it's also ultimately keeping you programmed into this evil matrix system of lies. And the only way out is truth. So looking at mental diagnoses, depression is looking at the past, poor me. Anxiety is looking at the future, I'm scared. And these are the two most negative vibrations that will prevent us from learning and growing. So depression is looking at the past. If you can change that to reflection and blame yourself for everything you went through and take the power away from everyone else, be accountable, own your ish, and do what needs to be done. So you need to take the lessons from the reflection. This happened. To prevent that, I'll do this. If it happens again, I'll do that. Now you don't have depression, you have solutions where you've used reflection to improve yourself. The anxiety of the future, fear being the worst vibration, which cannot coexist with gratitude. So looking at the future, it's taking you out of the present, which is the only time that exists, which means being in prayer. Prayer is being present. Meditation is being present. There are different types of prayer and meditation. You do not need to pray to God because he is all being, all knowing. He's everywhere all the time, right? So he knows what you need, and if you ask for something, you're not praying to him. And if you receive it, it's to lead you somewhere away from God into more darkness. So just accept your situation and be grateful for what you've had and what you do have. Don't think about the things that you're missing or lost. So looking at the anxiety in the future, you can move it to visualization. You can use negative visualization to visualize what it would be like to lose something or someone, to then experience a portion of the loss within you, and then realizing that you haven't lost anything, you're still you and you still exist complete, wholly. And that's what holy means, you're whole, right? So then you appreciate what you had, what connection you had with them, what they gave to you, what you gained from it, what you experienced, what you learned. And then you appreciate the fact that you haven't lost them yet and that they're still here. So that's the gratitude. So that removes fear of the future, and it makes you be grateful in the moment. And then the faith that all will go as it needs to go, because God is all knowing, all seeing. And if you don't try and ask him for stuff, or thank him for stuff, or beg him, or please help this and please do that, and thanks for this and thanks, don't do that. He doesn't need that. He gives you what you need, not what you want. If you ask, you're begging, you're asking the guy downstairs. So if you engage with him, he will strengthen his connection over time and use others, work his evil through others to attack you and get you to connect with them and stay away from nature and God and truth and all that stuff. So you need to know who you're praying to, There's different types of meditation as well. Won't get into that too much, but basically meditation is being present. Prayer is being present. So just be, accept what is, be grateful for what is, have faith that all is being taken care of and that you don't need to know. The gratitude for what you have and have had will remove the fear. And they're opposing vibrations that can't coexist. So you can use practices to engage with that. Don't write a list of things you're grateful for unless you're going to sit with each one individually and sit in that feeling of gratitude to evoke that vibration inside you. It's not you don't just list them and move on. You sit in it. Feel the gratitude. So then you need to have the discipline to do what you need to do what needs to be done, to abstain from poisons and evil. So you need to know what's good and what's bad, what's light and what's dark, right? So this is something that you're not supposed to interpret, and if you seek the truth, then you will know what you need to do and what you need to avoid. And then you do that. Without complaint, you do it. You just get up and go. You don't question it, you don't complain, you just do. Or not do, depending on what the discipline is. Sometimes we just need to sit and be still in nothingness, in silence, no technology, maybe in nature if you can, but just away from everything. And then if there's an intrusive sound, just to remember that that sound is real, it exists, and it's letting you know that you're in the present. Do not attach. If you attach to that sound and then you judge it, because if you attach to it, it'll create a feeling, oh, I don't like that, or that's fun, I like that. Then you, through that, that evokes a feeling, so then you judge it as good or bad, and then by judging it, you're playing God. Therefore, you become emotional because of your judgment, and you're wrong. So just accept, just be. Spend time alone, spend time in nature, spend time in silence. It's the only way you can go within. And if there are external stimuli, then just acknowledge that they're just keeping you present. So if your mind starts to drift, come back. You can either use, you don't really want to be using music, because again, that's taking you away and evoking emotion. So you can use music or a noise or a tick, 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 or touch a point in your body, or focus on a point in your body. You're coming away from all noise and all external stimuli, and then you're just going inwards. So you can use an anchor point within you. Say you use your forehead, at the center of just your brow, just above the center of your brow, and you just keep focusing on there, and thoughts will come. Do not engage with them. Acknowledge them and let them slip by, because as soon as you engage with them, then you're engaging with the devil, and then you're going to create thoughts, feelings, judgments and emotions, which is going to take you away from where you need to go. So to be disciplined with your practices, but also to be lenient with yourself, have high standards for yourself, and put the work in, the right work, and then that will allow you to fluctuate. So if you're every day, you have clean nutrition, you have good exercises, good rituals, good practices, whatever, good nutrition, and then every now and again you might wobble, then don't worry, because that is like programming your subconscious, because you're going to come back to it. So don't worry. If you wobble, don't worry. If you wobble twice in a row, then start to make some changes, because that can easily spiral and take you back to the evil idiot that you used to be. And then, very, very, very important, patience. There is no time frame, there is no rule book. There is the truth, and the truth is all that is. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do it today. You don't have to do it all tomorrow. You don't have to finish this year. It is a constant, forever, ever, ever. Just seek the truth. Be disciplined in your practices. Have faith all is going as it must. And be patient. Be patient. Have gratitude throughout your journey, and remember, you are all you need. You came to this world with a brain and a body. That's all you have. That's all you is. You're not even that. The brain is it's another tool, and it's being used by the devil until you purify it, which is by going into the body, into the soul that is carried by the body. So the body is not even, it's just, you are just the vibrational essence inside you that we can't even explain, that's connected to everything. Well, not everything, but everyone. And when you start to drop things off from your life, then you will start to be more you, and you'll start to learn these things. And like I say, you cannot speak on it unless you have been there. So I've been able to remedy multiple physical and mental issues through this work. The physical stuff, again, very similar. The doctors are all telling you need this, you need that. The shops are all telling you buy this fake poison. The farms are farming in poisonous land. So it's hard to know where to get good food from even. The tap water, I don't know if I trust that, not in the big cities. But anyway, the food, the water, the air, all of this stuff, you have to go on this journey and figure out what your body needs, what affects it. Maybe there's certain foods that you're eating that are preventing the regrowth, the recovery of your body. The body is like the planet, is trying to heal itself all the time. So sometimes you just need to put nothing in and fast. Fasting is important. That's a spiritual practice as well. Our organs are always working. They need time to recover. Let them recover. We have different, I won't get into the whole science of inside, but we have bad stuff inside us that feeds on bad food. When we stop putting that bad food in, then it has nothing to feed on, so it might feed on us. So we need good nutrition. We need to allow the stomach, the gut, the primary brain to recover. And if we feed it right, we fuel it right, we fast it right, we rest it, we recover it, we look after it, then our intuition will grow and get better. And that gut feeling, oh, this doesn't feel right, get out of there, because you've got a good gut brain. If you're filling it with junk and not optimizing its assessment of the outside world, then it's going to make bad decisions, and you're going to end up in bad places, and all of that stuff. So look after the gut. It's your primary brain. Do not listen to the brain below that, the groin. That's again just another evil. It's going to seek escapism, external fleeting pleasures, and then that could lead into a lot of pain and suffering, and then it could even bring in another human into this existence that could then, if you're not pure, if you're not in the light, if you're not the truth, then you're going to contaminate that poor little soul, and then the cycle is going to continue. So knowing who you are and following the truth, then badness will be taken away from you and goodness will be added to you, and a partner, if it's meant to be, will be sent to you, whether it's a friend, whether it's a relationship, a business relationship, a sexual relationship, whether you're supposed to have a family together, whether it's just someone that's passed by to give you a message. This is not for us to engage with. This is not for us to try and manipulate and control. We're just supposed to be. All will be taken away, all will be added as it must. So the mental health side of things, if you look at feeling suicidal, right, you're just on the step just before you kill yourself, right, well then you must be extremely free because nothing matters. So this is where the trick of the brain is saying all these things, and it really, they're all lies. So if you just stop engaging with that thought, everything goes away. And if you were going to kill yourself, you're not going to be here tomorrow. So then you're completely free to do what you want right now and for the rest of your life, because it's a new lease of life. So being in that position is not a bad thing. It's just you need to know what to do and that it's not real. So don't engage with it. Let it pass. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Don't engage with it. Don't judge it. Let it go. Let it go. If you look at psychosis, bipolar, schizophrenia, autism, so maybe there is a chemical makeup in the brain, maybe there's a deficiency, maybe there's a misfiring. These can be adapted. If you've got traits, you operate a certain way, means you're better at some things, worse at some things. Someone else has different traits, they're better at the things you're worse at, and they're worse at the things you're better at. That's just who you are. And maybe that's who you're supposed to be. It's guiding you to what kind of philosophy you're supposed to have in life, what you're here to do. So don't get too caught up in that either. You're here, and if you seek the truth, everything will align. So those I prefer to call them circumstances and traits rather than diagnoses and symptoms. But if we say they're mental health diagnoses and they have these lists of symptoms, the symptoms are just actions that someone's gone, right, let's put these actions together, we'll draw a ring around that, and then at the top we'll write the diagnoses. Well, the symptoms are really just traits, and you can affect them, you can make them better or worse by what you do and how you do it and why, your engagements, your abstinence. So you can affect that, you can do that. You don't need doctors or leaders or teachers or guides or anything. You can do it yourself. You just gotta be aware. Awareness, prayer, presence, meditation. It's now. Everything is now. It's awareness. It's all this is awareness. So as you expand your awareness, you expand your consciousness. Consciousness is awareness. We are awareness. You see how like these words, and then you look at words where they come from and the meaning. So there was all different civilizations before us, and you know, things have been lost in translation over time, and people have been evil and used it to manipulate, control, divide, you know, power, greed, all that sort of. So those diagnoses, there you go, right, you got this, that means you got to come here, you got to do these things, right, they've got you. So they're not going to tell you seek the truth and that these things can be removed from you. They're just more devils working inside you, living inside you, operating through you. So you got to go inwards to be aware of it, and then you got to seek the truth by not listening to them and engaging with them. Maybe you're a bit weird or a bit different, that's fine. But then what's weird and different? There's no normal. Normal is regular, normal is average, normal is what we see the typical evil slave doing. That's it. So don't be that. Be weird, be different, and accept that. Don't be annoying and disrespectful and all this, because if you go in and you seek the truth, and then it will just be pure love. Not this conditional love that us humans have, this love and hate. It's a pure love. It's not, there's nothing in it. It's just being. It's just connected. It's just love. It's like, it's not passion. It's just love. There's no, it's like non-human. It's godly. And if you're seeking the truth, then you'll be more connected with love and more understanding of it. But without going on the journey, you won't know. Right, then they give you the diagnoses. They say you're sick, you can't get better, so you believe them, then you double down on it, then you speak to others, and then they all confirm the same thing, which is just like in the churches, where you go, oh yeah, we're on da-da-da, and then you get your tribe or your little support group. So then you just confirm, solidify, really drill it down. Well, the deeper down you push it, the more stuff you're going to put on top of it. And then when you want to find the truth and become pure, then you're going to have to unload all that stuff. So don't. Just realize that everything is passing. Then also within these, like the autistic, schizophrenic, psycho, like all these sort of things here, they seem to align very much with people that are going through awakenings and enlightenments. It's very, very similar, but I think humans may have just gone, do you know what? These people are going into the light. We need to pull them back. Let's tell them they're sick. So a few years back, anyone that walked around that was enlightened, that knew the truth, that had connection with God, that spoke about aliens, like any of that kind of stuff, or went deep into like an obsession of something really interesting, we'd all call them weirdos, nutters. We'd label them, judge them. Why? Because they're showing us something we don't want to know. So what could that be? Well, if we're all evil and running around with all these fluctuating emotions, hedonistic lifestyles and manipulation, control, power, greed, well then maybe they're just really happy where they're at, or they're really tapped into where they're at. They're very present, they're very aware, meaning they're getting closer to God. So then we got to label them, we got to bring them down, we got to lock them up, we got to medicate them, we got to So I think there's something in there where if you're having a psychotic break, going through some kind of psychosis, in some kind of autistic, I don't know how to put that, an autistic, like deep into an autistic bubble. So I'm not saying like you have these different, the spectrum, it's all silliness, but there's someone that eats their own feces and there's someone that runs multi-billion pound dollar businesses, you know what I mean? So it's a silly spectrum, but there's a weirdness in there. There's a weirdness in psychosis, there's a weirdness in schizophrenia. Like, who's to say that someone that's schizophrenic, that's hearing voices and seeing people, who's to say that that's real or not real? So if that was real and we were scared that was the truth and that was going to destroy our evil games, then we'd have to lock them up and shut them down. Think about that for a minute. So maybe mental health is just made up in order to control us, divide us, manipulate us, just like religions. And maybe the truth is all we need and all we should seek, and everything will come through the truth. So don't lie to yourself anymore. Go inward, spend time alone, find out what work to do, how to do it, and then keep checking that you're doing it right. And that might take you down some different paths. Don't worry, maybe you explore it a bit, maybe it's the right path, maybe it's the wrong path, come back. So keep checking in on yourself. You can't get this from anyone else. You can only get it from inside yourself. So the more you distract yourself with external stuff and people, the more you judge things and engage with feelings and emotions and thoughts, the further away you're going to be and the harder it's going to be to come back. But as soon as you realize and you can die of this ego, and then you can be reborn into the light and live a pure existence. So you are well, you are wise, and you are water, my friend.